These two pieces belong to a three-piece set that the same client has commissioned, along with this piece that was featured in a previous video. These are part of HQ selections for his homebrew chapter, which is sort of in the vein of Loyalist Night Lords-ish. I think he's playing Night Lords but wants to use the Space Marine Codex. So this is his Chaplain. He sent me a bunch of pieces and wanted to see what I could do with them. So he sent me a blade guard body, which we started removing by removing all of the Imperial symbols on this body, including off of the chest, removed off the backpack, and so forth. I began by shaving off a little bit of the arm so that it is pointing the pistol a little bit more downward instead of outward. Removed the purity seals, things like that. Smoothed off some areas. Added some ball-bearing little studs here for rivets. And then he wanted a strip of flesh over the tabard. So we kept the cloth, but we removed all the iconography, and then we draped some skin. You can see the faces from the skin that's been sewn together to make an apron. Then he wanted a avian theme, right? So we've got bird skulls and fetishes and charms and things like that. The skull helmet here, I'm not sure where that's from. I'll have to ask and then annotate. We also have a feathered pauldron here. He supplied all of these. He wanted chain on the right arm. We also, of course, drilled the muzzle of the bolter and crowned it, so it's recessed. It looks a little bit better than just a plain hole. We have a tutorial on how to do that. It's fairly simple, but it really does make a difference in making the bolters look nice. This scythe here was made from several pieces and then pinned all in one piece with some wraps and fetishes as per his instructions added. These are from some Age of Sigmar bird man thing, the feathers and such. He also wanted me to make a totem for the back. I went with more of a dream catcher sort of look to it, which I think looks cool. This wire is from an old phone charging cable. I just gutted the wire and wrapped it around. And these skulls come from the skull pack. The exhausts were replaced with Chaos Space Marine exhausts. And then this piece of cloth here was sculpted into a cape and hood. We have a tutorial on how to do hoods and how to do feathers and how to do blending like this, all on the Patreon. So if you're interested in learning how to do that, we certainly do have tutorials for that, as well as learning to do dynamic, thin, realistic cloth and strips like that. Overall, it turned out really, really nice. I like this piece quite a bit. Very simple pose, but I think that it's I think that it turned out really well. So then we have the Champion, which was built off of the limited edition Champion. We removed again all of the iconography that didn't really fit, kept the skull on the knee, and that's about it. Again, we did a cloth, or rather an apron of skin quilted together, sewn together over cloth, as you can see there, with some fur, as per his instruction. He also wanted chain and bandages on the wrists as well. I guess that's part of his theme or his design. This was a Chaos head. I think this is from maybe the Crimson Slaughter guy. Not sure. This is some Chaos head he sent me, which I sculpted on some skull and teeth. You can see there, kind of like the Conrad Kurz that I did a little while ago. And then he added a Forge World. He sent me a Forge World pauldron, which had to be drilled out and then rebuilt because it was not the right scale, so it had to be carefully fitted on there. And we did a spiky pauldron on the side as well. The motion of this miniature with him kind of thrusting or holding his sword on guard here, I wanted the fur and the cloth to kind of be breezing this way. And then he's leaning this way, so I kind of left the hair here hanging down that way. Maybe he's a little bit static, not sure, but he also wanted the iconography. This is a White Scars trophy rack, the White Scar symbol removed, and then some bones crossbones made, which I did by notching out 2 pieces of resin sprue and then piling them on top of each other so they interlinked, kind of like Lincoln logs if you remember those. And then I put some wire from that phone charging cable around it, tied it down, and then added some bone features on the ends of it so it looks a bit more like femurs or something. The sword had the quillon removed in the guard, and then he wanted both skulls. He sent me this sword here, so we just drilled all the way through and put a pin, and then I put some long thin spikes there which accent the spikes on the blade. I think it looks good without being too cluttered or looking like it's an imperial sword. And we also have a bone charm here instead of the crux on the normal miniature. You can get a look at the back here. The skin cape, some fur, and then some Chaos Space Marine exhausts as the swapped out for the exhausts. All in all, I think it looks pretty good. Get you a better look at the helmet. There you go. And here's a closer look at the Chaplain in case you wanted a closer little peek here. If you would like to learn to do stuff for your own miniatures, like to do this yourself, check us out at patreon.com/lastlightcreative, where all of the features you see on these miniatures we have tutorials for, whether it's armor, fur, cloth, anything. Tons of tutorials over there, in depth with tool analysis and theory. They're quite meaty, those tutorials. And if you are already a Patreon supporter, thanks so much. Really do appreciate it. Thanks, guys.